guys, I'm Amy, and you've landed on Belle Loves Bargains. That's my cow Effingham, and sometimes he co-hosts with me. He's got a lot to say. This channel is Dollar Tree, and only Dollar Tree. And why? Because everything at the Dollar Tree is $1.25, people. So stick around, consider subscribing, and don't forget to give me that big thumbs up. And if you want to know more about the 4 uploads I do every week, just check out the description box for more information. Enjoy! Yeah, tell you something I think you'll understand when I say that something. I wanna hold your hand. I wanna hold your hand. I wanna hold your hand. Oh, please say to me, you'll let me be your man. The dog. What, did you come running in because you heard me singing? It's Jax. Did you hear me? I want to hold your paw. Hi, Jax. All right, everybody. Welcome to Bella's Bargains. My name is Amy. We're going to be done singing that because Jax came in and interrupted. What are you so happy about? I don't know why he's so happy. That always gives me a little fear. Like, what did you do? Were you a bad boy? Is that why you're happy? All right. So guess what? Today you guys have landed on a challenge video. And I just realized I need to pull up the picture for that and show you guys. So I'm doing a lot of challenges lately for all my besties. You know this. And the challenges are super good for exposure and really connecting with the creative community. And so I'm having a lot of fun doing that. This one is called Summer Fruits. It is, the host is Brenda from Rustic and Lace and Amanda from 6 Kids and a Glue Gun. So I've done some of their other challenges. Anyway, really, really great people. I certainly appreciate all the hard work that goes into challenges. So their channels are going to be listed down below, as well as the playlist for this collaboration. All right, so of course I have done Summer Fruits, right? And I kind of took it on a little twist, as I normally do. By the way, if you're new to the channel and you're here because of the playlist, please consider sticking around. Yes, I open every video up with a song. Please don't tell me to stop singing because it's not your channel. I'm saying. Somebody put that, stop singing. I was like, oh my gosh, seriously? Like, move along. You are not the besties we are searching for. Move along. Anyway, I like it when people have nothing better to do but to be rude online. Hey, I feel sorry for them. And then I add them to the prayer list. Okay, so Summer Fruits. This channel, that's where I was going. This channel is Dollar Tree, and only Dollar Tree. So like everything I buy and everything I use is all from the Dollar Tree, including all 3 of my crafts today. So I have a theme for today's Summer Fruits, and my theme today is books. Are we ready? Let me show you what I've made you. I'm going to show them in the order that I made them. This is the first one. How cool is this? It's a stack of books. Look at the fruit on the front. With a bouquet of fruit in it. See the little apples, little tangerines, limes, I don't know what else is in there. The berries. I'm a little hoarse. Sorry, guys. These are some sort of berry thing too. Okay, anyway, so let me just show you how I made this. Watch this. We have 3 books. So picked them based on the color and the size because I wanted a tier step in the size. And I really liked the green, felt very summery, fruity color, and the blue with the white border. And then the purple one, of course, here, I'm completely removing the jacket. So it didn't really matter what color it was. And so I've just peeled it off, and now I'm just cleaning up the binding so that I can put on the what I'm going to put on there as sort of the cover for it, because this is a print that I bought at Dollar Tree, and it was just, I thought it was really pretty, and it's perfect to make sort of a jacket for this book. So I'm just going to lay it down, just do a quick trace of the size. It does not go all the way around, but it doesn't matter. The back's going to be up against the book behind it. So I just needed to cover the front, basically. So I cut it down so it's the right height. And then I'm just going to glue it on the binding. So I'm going to bend it around so I can see where the binding goes. And then we're going to pop glue there. and then I leave it to glue for, I don't know, a couple hours, I think. Anyway, and I just use basically like a white school glue to glue this on. And there you go. So, and you can see on the back, it doesn't quite cover it. But again, that doesn't matter because it's going to be up against the other book. All right, so I take some painter's tape and just sort of hold it. That was Jax, who just got walloped by the cat, FYI. Jax, leave the kitty alone. Anyway, I took painter's tape and just to hold that on there while it dried. I just want to make sure that it stayed really adhered to the binding. Okay, and now I'm out of like my shoe polish. So I took a furniture marker and I just pulled the marker part out of it, which has all of the dye in it, and put some water in there. And I'm sort of making my own little dye to age this book up a little bit. I don't want it super a ton. I just don't want it to look so like bright green. I love the green color, but I wanted to, like I said, just tone it down a little bit. So this worked really well. I'm going to have to find something more permanent to make my dye out of. I know I can water down paint, but a lot of times that just comes out a lot darker. And I really wanted a very light effect of my aging sort of here. All right, so I just go ahead and do that on the green book. I do some on the white book. I got out my old shoe polish there and got it a little bit wet just to give the on my edging and stuff. But it's like it's down to the end here. Ah. Anyway, and that was just really heavy on your corners. This looks really dark. It does not dry that dark, but I know that. And I'm dipping it into my marker stuff there because the sponge on the shoe polish is just a good applicator. Okay, so we're going to do this book next. And then I'm also going to do it on the book where I put the new cover on there. And again, I'm not trying desperately to really age these up too much, just to make them look kind of, almost like a little dirty, like they've just been laying around a little bit. I don't know how to explain it. But you can see when it dries, it isn't quite as dark as it is right here. And on that binding there, it was so stark white. I definitely wanted to pull some of that down. And then we're going to see how it's drying already. It's not as dark. So now we're going to do the same thing with this very white with the sort of charcoal etchings on it. I love this. I thought it was like the perfect book on the front just to have these fruits because we're going to use this book stack as a vase. So you could technically do this, by the way, with real flowers. You would just get little tiny bud vase tubes and put them in there, and you could actually put some real flowers inside of a book like that. But of course that's not what I'm doing. I'm using faux. I kill anything that's real, so nah, not gonna happen. All right, so I've got it aged up just about enough, and I'm going to take this is like that burlap ribbon from Dollar Tree. I'm sure I got this off of some piece because I don't think they sell it. So I'd removed it from something and put it in my stash. But it has almost like a plastic backing on it. What I liked about it was the width of it. So regular burlap ribbon was going to be too thick, and jute twine was going to be too thin. And so this was just the perfect width and texture and everything that I wanted. I wanted sort of that schoolhouse, tie your books together kind of look, right? Like you would with the leather. That's the other thing I could have done. It's like an old leather belt or something. But this was perfect. Again, it was the perfect width. And so I just knotted it. Nothing else. Because, of course, I'm going to add all the decoration on the top of our books, right? So now these are all the fruit picks. I got them, I think, last spring. And I've had them in my stash. And I'm just going to start placing them into the books and manipulating the stems as I put them in to like bend them and whatnot to have the pieces go where I want. Now, as I put them in right now, the really awful leaves are still on there. And of course, I obviously go back and remove those because these stems are amazing, except for the really cheesy leaves that are on there. I don't know why. But you'll notice I'm actually sticking these stems in between the book pages and also in between the books. So, and you've got to be careful not to put too much in one area because it'll really bulge it out. Anyway, I think this came out really cute. I hope you guys like it as well. But let me know what you think. It was a great way to use those picks, and it's going to look super adorable in my kitchen for the season. Just like this bright, kitchen-y, farmhouse arrangement. And cookbooks would have been a good one to use for this. So I didn't have any, but it's another idea, right? All right, so I'm just cutting out those awful leaves. And then that's it. This one is done. I love it. I hope you guys love it as well. All right, so books. So I just want, again, you guys, what I was really going for. So these things are important when we talk about crafts. I'd like to really teach you guys. So the stair step effect is very good because what it gave us was different levels of the picks as I put them in, making it really easy to build a beautiful bouquet. Also, the simplicity of this tie right here, too much right here to pull these books together would have been overkill. And I'm always cautious with you guys about, don't overdo it. Stop. When the craft is done, stop. No, it doesn't need anything in the corner. No, it doesn't. Just stop sometimes. This is one of those instances where this is just perfect, so stop. And I didn't add any color to the front of this. The black and white print was absolutely perfect. That was I think I said it in the voiceover, that was a Dollar Tree print. And aging that book's just enough to tone down the colors so it wasn't so bright. Just really gives it a farmhouse look. But I want to really dive into, sorry, now I'm dropping things. Hold, where'd it go? Something I need for the next craft. Okay, what I want to talk about is this is one of those fruit picks. So these are the fruit picks. Fruit pick, right? And I happen to have one of these in there, the little apples up here. But do you see this? It is hideous, like hideous. I removed all of them from the picks before I put them in here. So they didn't have that hideous, cheap looking, and it is. These are just cheap looking leaves. Could I doctor them? Probably, and I might even for something in the future. But look, they're just plasticky and they're awful, okay? So one of the things you have to be really cautious of is, like, for instance, when you're looking at picks and stuff like that, don't be afraid to remove part of it. Honestly, there's no shame in that, trust me. And this looks so good with all the elements of the pick that were beautiful. So again, pick. And these are all great. I mean, every other part of this is great except for this. Look at that disgusting shiny sheen. Ew, 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 ew. So look at the pick now. And now once I remove this out of it, it just brings it to a whole different class level. Cheap, not cheap. All right. So that's part of what I want to show you guys. Just when you're looking at stuff, especially picks, look at them carefully. And is there something that you can remove from it that's really good or that would make it look really good? So I did that. All right. So then you'll notice that no, this is a book. This next one is another book. So that's what I was going to go with. So the theme is books. So I did this. It's like a book stack that I've made a vase. And then I had this amazing book that I picked up at the Dollar Tree, and I bought it specifically for the prints inside of it. And it was a book about David Fairchild, who went and traveled all over the world and brought fruits to America. So in between 1899 and 1919, the U.S. Department of Agriculture they commissioned these watercolors to portray new fruits that had come into our area, newly growing fruits, which is hysterical. This is between 1899 and 1919, 100 years ago, right? So these watercolors were in there. There's actually a watercolor on the flip side of all of these. So there was 8 in there, but of course I couldn't frame both sides. But I want to talk about this. I did all 4 of them. They are going in my kitchen. You will see them on above my cabinet shelves. I will be hanging these. They're very sort of high-end farmhouse looking because they're really good watercolors. I mean, these are just phenomenal. The detail and everything in these is so good. And you get your vintage from the print. So I left the frames white. These are just cheap plastic white frames. Yep. Why? Because my cabinets are white. So I did not do any aging. Could you? Yes. Could you put this in a wood frame and it would also look good? Yes. But I loved the stark white, just opposing the colors of the watercolor itself. And I just think these are really incredibly beautiful. I chose the papaya because my grandmother ate papaya when I was a child. Oh my gosh, I remember it so well. Probably because they didn't have papaya when she was a kid. She was born in like 1897, so it's probably this new fruit for her. And these were a specific lemon. I don't remember which lemon it is now, but this is just, these are so beautiful. So when I talk about going through books at Dollar Tree, I have said to you guys 1,000 times, just, I mean, look at what's inside. Watch. You want us to watch me tear them out and frame them? Watch this. I don't even think I need a voiceover here. So I'm just finding those pages. But the one thing I will say is using the X-Acto knife to make sure that it didn't accidentally rip them was a pretty good idea. So I just X-Acto knife down in there, pull these pages out because I want to make sure they're going to fit into the frame, right? And not be too short or not wide enough. So I'm going to cut them out. And then all I'm going to do is open up my frames and use the glass to cut these down to size. And you can see they're two-sided there. And I was trying to get a good balance of color. So for instance, I really loved the avocado, but I was going to use the watermelon, so then I didn't want two greens because I didn't like the peach on the other side. So I ended up using the grapes, which is fine because the grapes were beautiful. So just picking a nice selection of those colors from those. And like I said, I'm just going to open up the frames, get the glass out, lay the glass over each one of the prints, and get a cutting board and use my X-Acto knife and just trace around so that it's laying properly, centered properly over the print. And then that's it. I put them back in the frame. Like literally, that is it. So you guys can watch me do a little bit more of this, but again, I didn't do anything to the frames because I liked the stark white. And they're going to go up very high in my kitchen, so you won't even be able to tell the quality of the frames, but you can certainly tell the quality of these prints because they're just gorgeous. Okay, enjoy watching the rest of this. I'll be back. I mean, obviously, that was about as simple as it comes, right? But when you're looking at books, sometimes you need to go in and look at what is inside the book, because there could be gems like this in there that you can pull out and frame. Like I said, these are going in my kitchen, above my kitchen cabinets. They're a perfect backdrop for putting other farmhouse things in front of. Okay, do you want to see the final one? Because of course it is also a book. Now, I pulled the watercolors out of that book about Douglas Fairchild was. I can't remember what his name was. Where'd my paper go? I keep dropping it. Hold on. I think it was Douglas Fairchild. David Fairchild. Douglas Fairchild was an actor, wasn't he? Okay, anyway. David Fairchild. So that book, I then went ahead and used it to make what? An apple. Is it a summer fruit? Technically, Google. They do. You can harvest them late in the summer. So I was like, I can get away with it. Or I could have made it an orange, but I really wanted to make it an apple. So look at how cute my apple from a book came out. Let me just show you how this went. But before I do, I want you to take note. I'm not perfect when I'm cutting it out, and there's a reason. Ready? Watch this. This one is a little more tedious of a craft, but still fairly easy. So I'm ripping the binding off of this book because we don't need it. And we're going to start carving into the book. And then the cover from my first craft, that purple cover right there, I'm going to use that to make my template. And I'm just sketching out like the silhouette, half silhouette of an apple. So it looks pretty good to me, and so I'm going to cut it out, and then I'm basically going to use it as a template for cutting on both sides, and then it's pretty tedious. You just keep cutting and cutting and cutting through to get all the pages cut through. So first I was going to make another side, and I go, that's dumb. I'll just flip it over. It's like, So I put it on a cutting board, and then I used big clips just to hold it down. So it's going to help. But right there was where I removed all those watercolors, so it left kind of a thick little area in there, but no worries. I mean, I glue a dowel into the center of it. You'll see here in a little bit, and that sort of helps round it out, even though there's a spot where there's some missing pages. So I'm just going to trace this and then just start cutting with my X-Acto knife. I wanted to trace it on both sides just to make sure it did look like an apple, right? That also looks like a peach. I suppose it could be an orange, even a pumpkin, But anyway, and I'm just putting some pressure on, and I'm just cutting down, and then I'll flip the pages open, and you continue until you get all the way through that book. And that's pretty much what it is, and I repeat that on the other side. And we're just about down to the bottom of it there, and cutting it all the way through. Yep, and there's one side complete. So let's just repeat that exact same thing on the other side, like I said. And then once we're done with that, the pulling, kind of the book just sort of comes apart. Like at first I was trying to cut it, but you've pretty much cut through all those pages, so the spine just sort of falls off away from it, leaving you just the spine on the apple that you've cut off. You'll see here in just a minute. But I was kind of shocked that was fairly easy once I got all the way through all of these pages, just to separate it from the cutaway there. And I'm just, every once in a while, you want to just cut into the spine a little bit more so that you make sure that you're cutting those pages all the way through. And there's lots of things online for like book folding and whatnot where you can do those different things with the inside of the book. Pages, I mean. So this is where I was like, do I need to cut through this? Blah, 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 blah. And so I was just trying to sort of cut. And then it just sort of breaks away at one point. And I was like, oh, well, that was way easier than I thought it was going to be. But I'd already pretty much, most of the book had been cut through, so sort of made sense that it would just break away fairly easily. So you don't even need to do this. If I just picked up the binding and pulled it away from the apple, it would have broken right off. And here I'm just starting to, I was like, oh, I'll just kind of rip it away because I'm not using the rest of the book for anything else, right? That's just all trash. Anyway, you'll see here. I'm showing you my struggles. You get to watch all my struggles, and then, ba-bam, I go, oh, well, there you go. But either way, I mean, just see right there. It just like, all of a sudden I went, oh, my goodness. Could have done that all along. And there I have my apple. Now, I will say that I did have to spend some time sort of separating the pages, right, and making sure they were separate so they would fan out nicely. So I'm just like rounding my binding, bending it back on itself so that it opens up, and just because you want it to be fanned out, right? You don't need all these clumps of pages, which is, I mean, it's just what it's going to be. So then I was like, all right, well, let's just cut into the binding a little bit to give it a little more fanning ability, right? So it could fold within itself. That did help that helped a bunch. And then I grabbed a dowel, cut it down to size, and glued that into the center of it, so that really, giving it the round shape for the interior of that spine. And it also gave it a lot of extra stability for standing, right? Because the dowel isn't going to bend. So, and once I glued that in there, I left that to dry for, quite a few hours, actually. I just wanted to make sure it was, actually, I think I left it to dry like overnight. And I did put glue on one side, one page side, right? So that it was going to glue to the page opposing it there to keep it all together. And clamped it, and then, like I said, I think I let that dry overnight. Yep, and now you're going to have a nice round center of that apple. See my big thing full of the pieces of wood that I've purchased at Dollar Tree? Of course, I'm going to find my apple stem in there, right? So, all right. Once it's dry, I then found the perfect apple stem, and I put some wood glue, and then I let that dry for a few hours. And I picked a nice long piece on purpose. Wanted to add some height to this thing, and I knew I was going to put the leaves on there and all that. Now, what I just showed you was the tempera, and this is where I'm actually dipping the brush in water. It's not on camera. And then into the tempera, just to even lighten it up even more. And I let this, once I do all this, I do let this dry as well overnight, because there is some water in there, and we want those pages to dry up really well before I finish the apple. And I wasn't sure if I was going to need to put more paint on, like if it was going to be too light for my liking. It wasn't. I just did this once, the tempera, and I would just dip my brush. This is a makeup brush, by the way, but it was a nice full airy brush, and I was dipping it in water and then into the tempera, and then just going all over the sides of this. Anyway, it's very, very, very effective. I love how this came out. I'm just fanning it all over. All right, so then I've got some of this berry twine stuff. I'm going to put some around a pencil to get it all curly cued up, and it'll go around my stem, just a little decorative piece. And then I'm going to take, right there is that lime pick that I have, the leaves are still on it. I'm going to remove those leaves from it. And then I left the leaves on partially on a stem so that I could use that as part of my stem here on the apple. And so it broke at one point, but it was fine. I'm just sort of gluing it to the stem that's already there, so it looked more natural. And then I'm going to make a little tag for this, so you guys can watch me do that. The tag is, they're the little stickers, and I put 2 of them back to back and cut them down to make my tag, put a hole in it, and do some rub-ons on it, and trim it up with my ink pad so it looks a little aged, and tie it on with some jute twine. That's what you're going to watch me do here. I think this apple is so cute. I really, really, it will be in my kitchen for a while. All right, you can watch me finish this up, and I'll be back to say goodbye. So I'm not perfect because to have it not be perfect, like this part where it's messed up, I don't know if you guys are seeing this really well, actually adds to the character of it. It makes it look a little bit better. It's not like this perfect, you know, symmetrical, whatever. And then I just love the little tag on it that just said, you know, this is from those rub-ons, Farm Life. I put an apple on the back side of it, little ink around the sides of it. Anyway, just a cute little piece. So these leaves, I think I show you in there, were from another fruit pick that came out last year. It was actually the limes, which I have in here, but I removed the leaves from it and used them on this. And I think this is just super adorable. So don't know if I talk about it in the voiceover or not because I haven't done it yet, but let me just tell you, this is tempera paint. So I want you to understand the reasoning for using tempera. Tempera is a lighter paint than acrylic. It's almost like a child's finger painting paint. So because it's lighter and not as heavy, just to brush over the edges is easier. Acrylic tends to be really heavy. The tempera, I don't have to water down as much as I would have an acrylic. The other thing that would have worked maybe okay would have been an ink pad. I didn't happen to have the red, but I also feel like the ink pad may not have gone into the, see how we've sort of gone in a little bit randomly? And so I feel like the ink pad really would have just gotten the very edges and may not have given us as much of the red effect. Anyway, Marcus loved this one. He thought it was super cool. So I do too. I hope you guys also enjoy that one. All right. Those are my summer fruits with a book theme. Do you like that? I always try and be like, all right, let's just go in a different direction. Not so, you know. So now, again, I want to talk about, it is about the things that you pick up and what you pull out of them. Those fruit picks, just those leaves were awful. So remember, we can take things apart, we can deconstruct, we can make them look good. This is now, those picks all look phenomenal in there. So, and even pulling I gotta say, these limes all by themselves were kind of like, eh. But when I stuck them in the whole bouquet, they were great. And I got to use the phenomenal leaves because their leaves on that were really good leaves. See the difference? Look at it. This is what kills me, Dollar Tree, right? Look at, can you even compare? No. All right. So that's it, guys. You got to tell me down below. Please tell me which one is your favorite. I've got to say, just because I so appreciate art, I think these watercolors are stunning, and I cannot wait to put them up in my kitchen. All right, everybody, please don't forget to go down and check out Amanda and Brenda's channels, and also go to the playlist. Tell them Amy from Bella's Bargain sent you over. And if it is your first time here, consider sticking around and subscribing. Always give me a thumbs up or hitchhike, whichever way you want to go. And I am working on, all things go well, a bow tutorial this week. So hopefully that'll be out Thursday. No Tuesday video because I did this one. So it gets harder when doing craft challenges to hit my regular schedule. I should be back with a Wild Wednesday though. All right, everybody, have a great day, great week, a great life. And as always, from your singing crafty crafter, I want to hold your hand while we walk the Dollar Tree aisles. Everybody, happy hunting at your local Dollar Tree. Bye-bye.